Alright, so we got here a 99 Civic EX, me and Jacob, and we're doing a time belt water pump. I forgot to record the first half of it, but I'll try and explain it. So yeah, let's get to it. Starters, I've already done this part, but you want to make sure you can get your crank bolt loose. That's going to be the make or break of this job. And if you can get it loose, it's pretty much straightforward from there. You're going to need to remove your AC belt and tensioner, your power steering pump. I just kind of got mine laid to the side. You're going to make sure you're in top dead center. And of course, crank pulley's not there for you to see down there, but you want to make sure your crank pulley's lined up. There's several videos on YouTube of where to find that at. You want to make sure you're lined up, get everything out your way, remove your motor mount. Make sure you have a jack and a 2x4 in the oil pan so you don't puncture the pan. And yeah, pretty much straightforward from there. Water pump's out. Just make sure you're smarter than us and use a drain bucket. Made a big ass mess. But a couple 10mm, and you're also going to need to do the 14mm bracket bolt for the alternator. And yeah, pretty much just pull it out. It's going to have a little bit of tension on it. Alright, so once again, don't be like us. Before you pull the water pump, reinstall your dipstick tube so you don't get water in your oil pan. So I guess I'll be adding an oil change to this very soon. But yeah, just make sure you either cover your dipstick tube hole or reinstall your dipstick tube. Fucking man. You always compare your belts before installing, or you're gonna end up with it too small, too big, or just the right belt if you're lucky.
If you're installing a new belt on one that's got a couple 100,000 miles on it, you always want to take into consideration that the old belt may have a little bit more slack. It may be a little bit looser. This one wasn't changed too long ago, so it's pretty much dead on. But a lot of them, they'll be, you know, maybe a 1/4 inch longer, and don't let that scare you. Like I said, if it's got a couple 100,000 miles, it's going to have more slack in it.
Alright, so when you're putting the belt on, it's easier to go ahead and get it routed. And when you're going onto the cam gear, kind of work it from the left to the right, and just slide each tooth on one by one, and just kind of work it on. Before you tighten the tensioner, I'd suggest putting the lower cover back on and the crank pulley back on, just kind of hand tight to kind of verify you're still in time. And just kind of verify that before you tighten it, and then possibly have to go back in. After you set the tension, make sure you reinstall your timing cover. And then after that, you're going to install your crank pulley. And don't forget to install the crank position sensor before you put the timing cover on. Small break for the timing belt, do some donuts. Your crankshaft position sensor before you put your timing cover on, as well as your motor mount bracket. If you forget to do those, you're just going to pull the timing cover back off. So we're going to be doing a thermostat too. To undo the lower hose, you want to do this clamp. You do another clamp down here on the bottom of the radiator, and just pull the hose off.
Hey, let me just add something. Where the hose at?
Fucking dumbass. Then your thermostat housing's right here. It's going to be looks like 210s. And yep, just pop that off, place thermostat in gasket, and pretty much put it back together how you took it. Good job, well done, boys. Time belt, water pump, thermostat, lower hose, drip slut that we got to get going.